check me, boo.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So before we get started, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see that every time that I post. If you like the content, give this video a thumbs up, and anything you want to add, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. So this is episode 3 of Curon, right? We start off again with a young Anna, because I was ready to do what I was ready to call Anna. A young Anna and Mickey's dad, whose name is Albert. Well, apparently Albert, girl, these A's. Albert wanted to marry Anna when she turned 18, but Anna had let him down and told him that she had started dating or seeing the guy who would be Mauro and Daria's dad. So he got upset with her and stormed out on her, and I'm assuming that was one of the last times that they had talked, right? So the place that we seen him end up at the end of that episode 2, that's where they had their fight about her, you know, meeting Pietro. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And it's like a little cabin, right? So that's where they had that fight. That's where he is, present Albert, right? He comes out the door, he's got his gun, and they zoom in on his ring finger, honey, and there is some blood. And I was like, oh, what have you done, sir? What are you doing? And he's a park ranger, I guess, not a cop, but just a park ranger. So I'm like, okay. Daria and Mauro steal Grandpa's truck, and they're gonna go find Anna, right? Because they found her phone in his pocket. They're like, okay, we know you're lying now. Like, we need to know where our mom is. So they take off and they're driving, right? Well, Daria gets the truck stuck, and she blames it on Mauro because she's saying he was distracting her with all his nonsense talk, is what she called it. But it can't be too much nonsense because you out here with him. So how much of it was nonsense, really? So they decide that they're going to walk on foot. Albert goes and talks to Mickey. And he tells Mickey, he's like, I heard about the graffiti at school. And at first she was like, oh, Dad, don't worry about it. And so this is what he told her. I was like, okay, good father, because right now I'm looking at you sideways because I seen the blood. I need to know if you were a killer, sir. But he told her, he was like, be you. He's like, there's nothing wrong with you being yourself. Don't let anybody else tell you anything different. I was like, okay, kudos to Dad. Kudos to Dad. When he left her room, her mom, whose name is Clara, by the way, she was eavesdropping at the top of the steps. So he goes up and he's like, you know, you can go talk to her too. And she's like, oh, you know, mother-daughter relationship, their relationship at least, they don't talk a lot, right? And he's like, you know, she just asked, you know, but like, how is she doing? Is she okay? And he's like, yes. Now, Clara said, you ain't came home for the past 2 nights. Where you been at? I said, oh, girl. Let him tell it. It's because he's out there because of wolves. That's why he's a ranger. He has to be out there, right? She was like, she was basically trying to accuse him of seeing Anna. That's why he's been out for the past 2 nights. And he caught on to that. He was like, are you trying to accuse me of seeing Anna? He was like, I haven't seen Anna. That was 17 years ago. You need to get over it. You need to let it go. Then he told her, he said, the only problem I see is you. I was like, why he keep coming at her at the side of his neck like that? What is wrong with this man? And so she was just like, you need to stay away from Anna. I was like, tell him, girl, tell your man. She tells him, she's like, you're not the same guy that I married. And he was like, oh, you knew exactly who I was when you married me. I was like, So he up there getting rowdy, right? So downstairs, Julio and Mickey hear them screaming, right? So Julio, of course, honey, he upset. He's like, I'm sick of this. But he was on his way to go up there, I guess, to defend his mom. And so Mickey grabbed him. She's like, oh, no, you can't go up there. And so Julio's like, you're taking his side. And so Mickey's like, mom allows Dad to treat her like that. That's her own fault. And he was just like, I tell you what, he said, when I graduate, I can't wait to leave this place. I can't wait to get away from here. Basically, y'all gonna see me in a win. Peace out. That's gonna be the end of that. Oh, and Julio walks out. So at school, Clara asked Mickey, of course, because this is the only class that we ever see, I wonder what the budget was for this. Huh. Clara asks Mickey, she's like, where's your brother? And Mickey's like, I don't know. You know, she gets smart with her or whatever. So she's like, can I use the bathroom? So, you know, she's like, yeah, you can go to the bathroom. So Mickey goes in the hallway, honey. She hop on the phone. Kiki and calling Daria, hey, I see you're not at school. I hope you're okay, yada, yada, yada. And here comes Lukas. I was like, ugh. I don't know about Lukas because y'all know Lukas don't count. Lukas number 2 has come about the lake now. I was like, ooh, we need to see what's going on. So Lukas goes to talk to Mickey, and Mickey was like, didn't I tell you to stay up at my face? And so he was like, oh, I need your help. Or no, he comes to apologize again. And she was like, I don't care. I'm not seeing it for you. Stay up at my face, like I said. And she walks off. Well, Lukas sees Lukas number 2. And he was shook. He was like, ooh. Like, who is that looks like me? Daria and Mauro make it up the mountain, right? And so they make it into that place where Grandpa had made it to. And, you know, Mauro, once again, has his gadget, so they pick the lock, right? So they go inside. This room is full of weed. It is full of weed. So in there, and they're like, oh my God, basically saying whoever did this, like, they're genius because it's a small place, right? So while they're in there, somebody comes and they're like, oh my God, the lock's been opened. So they hide. Well, in walks Julio and his friend, right? And they're like, oh, well, now we know who is selling the weed, right? So they create a diversion, and so they get out of there without being seen, right? And I was like, ooh, like, things are about to get sticky. Sticky! Grandpa goes to Albert for help, right? And he's like, I can't find my grandkids. He's like, I need your help. And apparently they had some beef, but I couldn't really tell like what it was about. I know it had something to do with Anna, but you know, they got some issues. But I think Albert agreed to take Grandpa is because he wanted to see what was up, right? So they're gonna go find Daria and Mauro in the mountains. So while Daria and Mauro are out in the woods, they're walking and stuff, and they get into it. Apparently this isn't the first time, well, they've said it before, this isn't the first time that Anna's like run off on them. And so Daria has been stuck before taking care of Mauro, and they get into it about that. Daria's like, we're gonna end up orphans, I'm gonna end up taking care of you. And I noticed, I was like, out in these woods, like, this oddly looks like that little dream that Daria had when she got drunk and fell off the pier, because I was like, is this gonna like turn into deja vu in a second? I wasn't really sure. At Lukas's house, he goes into the house and his dad is yelling at him. He's like, how dare you talk to me like that? And Lukas is looking dumbfounded. He's like, Dad, what are you talking about? He was like, you were just out there in the garage fixing your bike, and I guess he said something like really rude to him or whatever. He was like, just go back out to the garage where you were. Just go, just go. So Lukas is like, okay. So Lukas goes out to the garage, right? So when he gets out there, he sees that the bike tire is spinning, and he's like, okay. So he walks into the garage, and I was like, oh, somebody about to die. So he makes it over to the bike, and when he turns around, there's Lukas number 2 with hammer in hand. I was like, wow. So Lukas number 2 starts saying, I'm everything that you're not. You're weak. You're brittle. You're fragile. You're scared. All, you know, just all these things. And so he swings at him with the hammer, right? But he misses. Then he swings at him again and misses again. So Lukas takes off back to the house. And I was like, oh, this is about to be a problem, because he's probably about to come in there and kill you and your daddy and that cat. Because there's this cat. They have a cat. Well, his dad has a cat, and he's like obsessed with that freaking cat. Now, it's gotten dark, and Mauro and Daria are out walking in the woods in the dark, right? And Daria had seen some light shining from somewhere, right? And so they're walking towards that light. Well, they make it, they happen upon that cabin that Albert was at, right? So they head up the stairs to it, and, or at least Mauro does. Daria kind of stays behind looking at him, because she's for somebody who acts like she's just so tough, she was like real spooked out there in the middle of the darkness. But I would have been too, though. So, Mauro gets up the strength. He goes up and he actually turns the door handle. Well, by this time, Daria sees like some car lights. So she starts yelling, help, help. And it's Albert and Grandpa, right? So, Mauro comes away from the door of the cabin, right? And, he's basically saying like, hey, we found this place. The door's open. Daria's saw a light from here. So he was trying to go back up to open the door. Albert cut that off real quick. Albert's like, no, I told you. I'll even bring in the police and I'll have them look for your mom. Just let's go, you know, and get you safe. Well, before Mauro leaves, he bends down and he finds an earring, right? And I was like, Albert, you making yourself look suspicious the way you was acting just then. So when they get back home, they want answers from Grandpa, right? So, he tells them, like, up in that room, I seen your I seen your grandmother, I thought, but, it wasn't really her. It was an apparition. I was like, oh, so we out here telling these half-truths and half-lies, huh? And he was like, so Mara's like, yeah, you know, I've heard that this place is cursed. And Grandpa's like, no, I don't think it's the place. It's the Reyna family. We're cursed. And I was like, these lies. He also had told them that he had once seen a doppelganger of Anna's mom. And I think that's that goes back to the beginning, in the very beginning when Anna's mom told her she was like, the same thing will happen to you. Like, she had encountered her doppelganger. So they eating up these lies since he over here shooting for his EGOT, honey. I was like, okay, you acting real good right now. So back over at Mickey's house again, Clara and Albert are fighting. So she's like, how did you get wrapped up in, you know, being out there, looking for those two kids? And he was like, because I couldn't call the police. They never would have come to just look for two missing teenagers. She was basically telling him like, this is none of your business, right? And he was telling her, he's like, you've been acting strange ever since Anna came into town. And this is more of an insecurity thing. So she's like, oh, do you still love me? And then they have sex. Like, that was going to solve all of their problems. But I was like, okay, whatever. The next day, I guess it's like before school started, Daria and Mickey were in the gym, right? And Daria was telling Mickey how Albert wouldn't let them go in the cabin. And she's like, oh, yeah, apparently drug addicts used to hang out there or something like that, right? And so Daria hugged Mickey, and Mickey hugged her back, honey, but then Mickey was ready to kiss her, and Daria was like, oh, no, like, that ain't what I was trying to do. So Daria leaves, right? And I was like, I knew she wasn't into her like that. I don't know what Daria's sexuality is. That's really none of my business. And she'll tell us when she's ready, I guess. But now she left Mickey looking crazy. So then in gym class, Mickey and Daria are like staring at each other a few feet apart. Excuse me, y'all, my contact. They're staring at each other a few feet apart, and Daria starts walking towards Julia, and I was like, oh, is she about to go over there and flirt with him in front of Mickey? Like, is that what's about to happen? But she didn't. She went over there to Julia, and she was like, oh, I know about your little weed, honey. I know that you got a green thumb. And he was like, yeah, what about it? She was like, well, I want all the weed that I can smoke for free, or I'ma tell. And he was like, well, nobody likes your family anyway, basically, so why would they believe me? She was like, well, better safe than sorry, or you're gonna be locked up, clink clink, under the jail, you know, throw away the key. And so she walks out on him like she really don't did something, right? Here comes Lukas up to Mickey again. He's like, I need help. He's like, someone's following me. He's following me everywhere I go, everywhere I look, he's there. And Mickey didn't believe him. And then she really didn't believe him. He was like, he looks exactly like me, like my identical twin. So she was really like, stay away from me, and like, don't talk to me, like, we're not friends. So he's distraught, right? Julio did go and apologize to Mickey about the little fight earlier. He did notice that she was upset over Daria, so, you know, of course, he did the brotherly thing, and they had like a little laugh, and then of course, you know, they just moved on. That earring that Mauro picked up, he scrolled through some pictures on Anna's phone and found a picture of her wearing it. So he shows it to Anna, right? She had the nerve to get upset with him, talking, so how come you didn't tell me? He been telling you this whole time. What is you talking about, girl? So he was like, I tried to tell you. And then she wanted to go all into, now she telling some it's her and him against the world, basically. You know, being Jay on the run, Bonnie and Clyde, you know, all of that. I was like, girl, get out my face. He been concerned about y'all mom this whole time, and you ain't gave not two. Now all of a sudden you want to be concerned. So he's like, we need to go back up to that cabin, right? Well, they go in the middle of the night. Hold on, before I say this, Grandpa and his friend made it back to that car crash they had found, the car that had ran off the side of the road. When Grandpa got down there and got in the car, there were no bodies. He said there was no blood. So his friend was like, someone staged this. So when he said that, he was like, Grandpa automatically assumed that it was Albert, right? Okay, now flashback. Mauro and Anna go back out to this cabin in the middle of the night, honey, with some flashlights, right? They go in, they're looking around, and then Mauro sees a puddle of blood on the floor. I was like, ooh. So then he pans up with a flashlight, and there's like this table, and it is covered in blood, right? Well, they're in there, and they're calling out for Anna, but they don't hear anything. Well, then in comes Ranger Tom.
How about that?
Albert. So he's in there, and then he hears a creak. So of course it's Daria and Mauro hiding, right? And so he's like, come out wherever you are. So he's looking through that. He's like, I know someone's in here, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness, he's going to find them and kill them, right? Well, he finds them. He had the gun pointed right at Mauro's face, right? But Grandpa knocked him out from the back, right? And so he told Daria and Mauro to go outside, right? So they went outside, and he asked Albert, like, what'd you do with Anna? He was like, I don't even know where Anna is. I don't know. And so Grandpa, like, really, like, knocked him out with the gun, right? Meanwhile, back at his house, because he don't gave Clara the good, she's smiling from ear to ear and don't even know that her man out here, because it was her, Julio, and Mickey setting up the dinner table and stuff. Now she not worried about him coming home. And your man out here about to lose his job. Hey, you about to lose your job. Hey, you about to lose your job. Hey, you about to lose your job.
You about to lose your job.
They called the police. They had him in the cuffs, and they was putting him in the back seat. And I said, Lord, here we go. You would think that's the end, right? Nope. Flashing, jumping back over to Lucas's house. Lucas isn't really hungry. He's sitting down to dinner with his dad, and here his dad goes about this freaking cat again. I think his name is Figaro. Figaro is hungry. Go out to the garage and get him some cat food, right? And so he goes, but he's afraid because he knows what happened last time he went in there, right? So he musters up the courage when he gets to the garage. He cuts the light on, and he's like, okay, game plan. I'm gonna run in here, get this cat food, and get out, right? So he makes it over there, gets that cat food. As soon as he lifted up that cat food, them lights went out. I was like, oh, you dead. You good and dead. So he turned around, and there was no one there. Not until he walked out of the garage and turned around again, and there was Lucas number 2 in his face, right? So Lucas number 2 was playing because he said boo. And Lucas took off through the woods. I was like, no, that's the worst place. Like, you're going to die out there. So he's running, and he hides from Lucas number 2, right? So he thinks he's safe. He thinks he's good, right? And here's another chance again. Lucas number 2 swings at Lucas and misses him, right? So he falls to the ground. So Lucas has a knife, and Lucas goes to stab Lucas number 2, but he can't do it. And so Lucas number 2 is like, do it. You can't. You're weak. You can't do it.
Do it!
So Lucas just starts to walk away, right? Well, honey, Lucas number 2 get up. He chased Lucas through the woods a little bit more. Lucas falls. He does the whole white girl in a horror movie thing where he falls and he's crawling, all of that. And Lucas number 2 kills him. And then we end the episode with Lucas number 2 in the house eating the dinner that Lucas didn't even want, sitting at the table with his dad. And I was like, this is not going to be good for anybody at all. And I'm telling you now, he gonna start with Mickey. But we're gonna see the next episode. But Ranger Tom done lost his job, so now Claire got to go get him up out the jail, or at least ask him about what was. I need to know what the heck was all that blood for, cause he like we've seen he's been doing stuff with wolves. So like, is it just gonna end up coming back to the fact that like he's been like, I don't know, dismembering wolves up there, or like did he come across like Anna and her doppelganger and do something with them? But from what I can see, he's got like this weird obsession with Anna, so I don't think he would have did anything with her. So I can't see what's going on in the next episode. We've got what, 3, 4 left. I will see you guys later. Bye.